One of the biggest questions I hear from people thinking about early retirement sounds simple, but it stops more retirement plans than almost anything else. It's this: I think I could retire early, but how do I pay for health insurance? That single question keeps people working years longer than they had planned. It's not because they don't have enough savings, it's not because their retirement plan doesn't work, it's because healthcare feels like a giant unknown. When you retire early, everything changes. You probably lose employer coverage. You're not eligible for Medicare yet, and suddenly healthcare goes from something in the background to one of the largest line items in your retirement budget. I've seen people with strong portfolios delay retirement for 5 or even 10 years, not because they needed more money, because they were afraid of getting healthcare wrong. I've also seen people retire early without a plan, underestimate healthcare costs, and feel boxed in later. So today, let's walk through how early retirees actually pay for health insurance, what options exist, how income and taxes affect those costs, and how healthcare should fit into a smart, long-term retirement strategy. Hey, it's Jason Solomon, president of Tactical Investment Advisors. Today, we're going to walk through how to pay for health insurance if you retire before Medicare, and how to plan for healthcare costs in a way that support your retirement instead of quietly undermining it. If you find this video helpful, please like, comment, and subscribe. It's going to help more people find these educational videos. Why healthcare feels like the biggest risk in early retirement. While you're working, healthcare is relatively simple. You have employer coverage, premiums are subsidized, and the costs feel predictable. Early retirement flips that overnight. Employer coverage usually ends, Medicare doesn't start until 65, and the full cost becomes your responsibility. This creates a healthcare gap. The years between when you stop working and when you begin Medicare. The gap may be 3 years, it may be 7 years, it may even be 15 years. Because healthcare costs tend to rise faster than inflation, this gap deserves very serious planning. The mistake that most people make is treating healthcare as an unpredictable risk. In reality, healthcare is a planning variable if you approach it correctly. The ACA marketplace. The primary solution for most early retirees. For many early retirees, the Affordable Care Act marketplace, often called ACA or Obamacare, is the primary solution. This surprises people. They assume that ACA plans are only for low-income households. But that's not how it works. ACA eligibility is not based on net worth. Subsidies are based on income. Coverage can bridge the gap to Medicare. You could have a 7-figure portfolio, significant retirement savings, and no debt, and still qualify for ACA subsidies depending on how your income is reported. This is where healthcare planning and retirement income planning intersect in a very real way. Why income control matters more than most net worth. One thing most people don't realize is that early retirement often comes with more income flexibility than working years. You may no longer have wages. You may control when withdrawals occur. You can choose which accounts fund your lifestyle, and that matters because ACA premiums are based on taxable income, not assets. Higher income equals higher premiums. Controlled income equals potential subsidies. Two retirees with the same net worth can pay dramatically different healthcare costs simply because their income is structured differently. This is why healthcare planning should never be separated from tax and withdrawal planning. How retirement account withdrawals affect healthcare costs. Early retirees often fund their lifestyle using a mix of accounts. Some withdrawals create taxable income, some don't, and the timing matters. Large withdrawals from traditional retirement accounts will increase your reported income. They'll also reduce or eliminate ACA subsidies. They'll raise your monthly premiums. Smaller coordinated withdrawals may keep income within target ranges, may reduce your healthcare costs, improve your long-term tax efficiency. This doesn't mean avoiding retirement accounts. It means using them intentionally. Private health insurance and health sharing plans. Some early retirees explore private insurance or health sharing arrangements. These options vary widely. Private plans may have limited provider networks, exclude certain conditions, cost more than expected. Health sharing plans are not traditional insurance. They do not guarantee coverage. They operate under different rules. They may work in very specific situations, but they require careful evaluation. This is where working with a financial professional can make a meaningful difference. What healthcare actually costs in early retirement. Let's talk about costs because this is where fear often takes over. Healthcare in early retirement is not free. It's also not always catastrophic. The costs depend on your age, your location, your plan type, and your income level. For many early retirees, healthcare becomes one of the largest controllable expenses, not an unpredictable one. When planned correctly, healthcare becomes just another line item in a well designed retirement budget. The biggest healthcare mistake early retirees make. One of the biggest mistakes I see is treating healthcare as a reason not to retire. People often assume worst case scenarios. They ignore income control strategies. They delay retirement unnecessarily. Or even worse, they retire early without a plan and feel pressure later to return to work. The right approach is balance. Healthcare should be acknowledged, it should be planned for and integrated. It should not be feared and ignored. How healthcare fits into a bigger retirement strategy. Early retirement planning works best when healthcare is integrated into the full picture. That includes income sequencing, tax bracket management, portfolio withdrawal strategy, long term Medicare planning. Healthcare decisions made at 58 or 60 can affect your ACA costs, your Medicare premiums later, and your overall retirement confidence. This is where thoughtful planning makes the biggest difference. Planning the transition to Medicare. One advantage of early retirement planning is that healthcare complexity doesn't last forever. At 65, Medicare begins, but the transition matters. Decisions made before Medicare can affect your Medicare premium surcharges, your supplemental insurance coverage options, long term healthcare costs. Early retirement healthcare planning isn't just about covering the gap, it's about setting up a smooth transition later. When people think about early retirement, healthcare is often the last unknown, the one variable that feels the hardest to control. It's not because it's impossible to plan for, it's because it's unfamiliar. Most people get to spend decades with employer sponsored coverage quietly running in the background. They never have to think about how healthcare is priced, how income affects premiums, or how it fits into a long term financial plan. So when early retirement becomes a real possibility, healthcare suddenly feels like a threat instead of a planning decision. The reality is this: healthcare in early retirement is not a reason to delay a well designed plan. It's a reason to design the plan more intentionally. When healthcare is coordinated with your income strategy, your tax planning, your portfolio withdrawals, and your long term Medicare transition, it becomes manageable, predictable, and far less intimidating than most people expect. The retirees who navigate early retirement with confidence aren't the ones who ignore healthcare. They're the ones who understand it, learn about it, plan for it, and integrate it into the bigger picture so that it doesn't control their decisions later. Good retirement outcomes don't come from guessing. They don't come from hoping costs stay low. They come from thoughtful, coordinated planning where healthcare is treated as part of the strategy, not the obstacle. If you're approaching retirement and you want to make sure your plan is working for you, not against you, let's talk. Healthcare decisions, tax planning, income strategy, and retirement timing all affect each other. Looking at them in isolation is where costly mistakes can happen. I'll walk you through how these pieces fit together in your situation and help you understand what your real options are before you make an irreversible decision. There's no pressure, there's no product sales, it's just a clear professional conversation focused on helping you retire with confidence instead of uncertainty. Click the link in the description below to book a free consultation and I'll walk you through your options. Thanks for watching, and if you found this helpful, I'll see you in the next video.